I'll never forget the day my little sister, Emma, came into the world. I was 5 years old, a wide-eyed child full of curiosity, when Mom and Dad sat me down with beaming smiles. "Paula," they said, "you're going to be a big sister?" They painted a vivid picture of joy, promising that Emma would be my lifelong best friend, a companion for endless adventures. What they failed to mention was the shadow her arrival would cast over me, a shadow that would grow longer with each passing year. My name is Paula Mitchell, and growing up in our household taught me early on that love and attention were not distributed equally. There was an unspoken hierarchy in our family, with Emma perched firmly at the top, radiant and adored, while I lingered somewhere below our scruffy family dog, Scruffy. The favoritism was impossible to miss. Each morning, Mom would flutter around the kitchen, preparing Emma's breakfast with the precision of a chef. 2 eggs, sunny side up, with toast sliced diagonally. "Just how my princess likes it," she'd coo. Meanwhile, I'd be handed a box of cereal, the kind with stale flakes and no marshmallows, and told to fend for myself. This disparity seeped into every corner of our lives. When I needed braces at 12, Dad grumbled about the expense for months, his sighs filling the house like a storm cloud. "Do you know how much this costs, Paula?" he'd mutter, as if I'd chosen crooked teeth on purpose. 2 years later, when Emma needed braces, money was suddenly no obstacle. They even splurged on the clear, nearly invisible ones I'd begged for, but was denied. My academic achievements, straight A's, math awards, science fair trophies, earned me distracted nods or a half-hearted good job. Emma's minor accomplishments, like her 2-line role in the school play, were celebrated with lavish dinners at her favorite restaurant, complete with sparkling apple cider to toast her star quality. Birthday parties were another stark reminder of our unequal footing. Mine were modest, thrown together with a supermarket sheet cake and a handful of friends in our patchy backyard. Emma's, however, were extravagant spectacles, bounce houses, hired magicians, and custom-made cakes shaped like castles or unicorns. I once overheard Mom confiding to a friend, "Emma just appreciates these things more. Paula's so practical." The words stung, embedding themselves in my heart like splinters. Emma wasn't always the center of this gilded universe. As a young child, she was sweet, her laughter like music as we built blanket forts in the living room, weaving silly stories about dragons and princesses. But years of being treated as infallible changed her. By middle school, she'd morphed into someone entitled, her sweetness buried under a sense of superiority. "Paula, where's my blue sweater?" she'd demand, rifling through my closet without so much as a knock. "That's mine, Emma," I'd protest, clutching the sweater Mom had bought for my birthday. "Well, I need it for Jessica's party," she'd snap. Moments later, Mom's voice would echo from downstairs. "Paula, don't be selfish. Let your sister borrow it." I learned to swallow my frustration, to pick my battles, to expect nothing. School became my refuge, a place where I could shine without competing for scraps of attention. While Emma basked in applause for her minor role in the school play, I was winning science fairs, acing advanced placement classes, and quietly plotting my escape. My acceptance letter to State University arrived with a full scholarship, a golden ticket to freedom. I dreamed of the moment I'd share the news at dinner, imagining my parents' faces lighting up with pride. Instead, that night's conversation revolved around Emma's dramatic retelling of her 7th-grade student council campaign. "Mom, I got a full scholarship," I interjected during a rare pause. "That's nice, honey," Mom replied absently. "Emma, sweetie, tell us more about your campaign posters." College offered a fresh start. I visited home only for major holidays, counting the minutes until I could return to my dorm, where my achievements belonged to me alone. My dean's list standings and internship offers were met with lukewarm acknowledgement, overshadowed by Emma's latest milestones, however small. I kept my visits brief and my expectations briefer, finding solace in the life I was building. During my junior year, a Facebook message changed everything. "Hey, remember me? Mike Harrison from Kennedy High," it read. Mike was the charming senior from the debate team who'd barely noticed me in high school. We started chatting daily, swapping college stories and nostalgic memories. He was now an engineer back in our hometown, and our conversations sparked something unexpected. After graduation, I returned home and landed a job as a project manager at Turner and Associates. Mike and I met for coffee my first week back. Coffee turned into dinner, dinner into dating, and soon we were apartment hunting together, our lives intertwining like vines. My parents, however, remained indifferent. They barely acknowledged my new job or relationship, too preoccupied with Emma's college struggles. "She's having such a hard time adjusting," Mom would sigh during our rare phone calls. "Not everyone can breeze through like you, Paula." But Mike's family filled the void. His parents, Tom and Sarah, welcomed me with open arms, treating me like the daughter they never had. His sister, Jenny, became the sister I'd always wished Emma could be. They helped us furnish our apartment, invited us for weekly dinners, and genuinely cared about my career. At our small wedding in their backyard 2 years later, Sarah's toast, "We're so proud of you both," warmed my heart in a way my own parents never had. Life felt complete. I excelled at work, was happily married, and, a couple of years later, gave birth to our son, Lucas. His arrival filled our home with joy, his tiny hands grasping at the world with wonder. Mike was a doting father, at first, but when Lucas turned 1, something shifted. Mike grew distant, working late, and canceling our date nights. I chalked it up to new parent stress, but a gnawing instinct told me otherwise. The truth came on an ordinary Tuesday evening. I was feeding Lucas in his high chair when Mike walked in, his face haggard. "I need to tell you something," he said, his voice trembling. "I've met someone else. Her name is Rachel, a client at work. I'm in love with her." The words hit like a physical blow, shattering the life I'd built. The divorce was swift and surprisingly civil. Mike moved to Colorado with Rachel, but insisted on generous alimony and child support. "I may be a terrible husband," he said during our final meeting, "but I won't be a terrible father." Holding 2-year-old Lucas in my lawyer's office after signing the papers, I felt the weight of his innocence. He was too young to understand why Daddy wasn't coming home. Mike's family became my lifeline. Despite their son's actions, Tom and Sarah remained devoted grandparents, and Jenny was the aunt every child dreams of. Lucas would light up at their house, racing to the toy corner they'd set up just for him. Tom played trucks on the floor, and Jenny always had a new craft project ready. Visits to my parents' house were a stark contrast. I hoped they'd bond with their only grandchild, but their indifference was palpable. "Paula, don't let him touch that vase," Mom would snap, barely glancing up from her magazine. "And keep him still, he'll scratch the hardwood." Lucas would cling to my leg, sensing the chill. When Emma visited, the disparity was even clearer. "There's my successful girl," Dad would beam as she breezed in, bragging about her new job at a trading company. They'd hang on her every word, ignoring Lucas's attempts to show them his crayon drawings. Each visit left me emptier, and soon, they became fewer and farther between. Instead of chasing my parents' fleeting approval, I turned my focus to what I could control, my career and building a warm, stable home for my son, Lucas. With Jenny and her parents, Tom and Sarah, stepping in as a supportive extended family, I had the childcare help I needed to pour my energy into work. My ambition led me to volunteer for the toughest assignments at Turner and Associates. The Singapore account is high risk, my boss cautioned when I offered to lead it. "No one's closed this deal in 3 years. I met his gaze with quiet confidence. "I can do it," I said, my voice steady with determination. For 3 months, I burned the midnight oil, juggling late-night video calls across time zones, crafting meticulous proposals, and navigating complex negotiations. My persistence paid off. Not only did I close the deal, but I expanded it to twice its original scope, a feat that left my colleagues stunned. More high-stakes projects followed, each success cementing my reputation as the go-to person for our most challenging clients. The promotion to senior account director came with a corner office, a salary that made my breath catch, and a toast from my team after I landed the Microsoft account. To Paula Mitchell, the miracle worker, they cheered, raising their glasses. The bonus from that deal was the final piece of a long-held dream. That weekend, I took Lucas house hunting. The realtor led us through a stunning 3-bedroom apartment. "This one has a park nearby," she said, gesturing to the green space visible through the window, "and the school district is excellent." Lucas darted from room to room, his eyes wide with excitement at the thought of a space for his toys and books. I watched him explore, my calculator app open as I triple-checked the mortgage numbers. This was our future, a home where Lucas could thrive. "We'll take it," I told the realtor, my heart swelling with certainty. That night, as I tucked Lucas into bed in our old apartment for one of the last times, he asked, "Mommy, are we really getting a new home with my own room?" I smiled, brushing his hair back. "Your own room, an art corner, and space for all your books." He threw his arms around me, whispering, "You're the best mommy ever." In that moment, I realized I could break the cycle of neglect I'd endured. Lucas would always know his worth, never feeling like an afterthought. Life felt like it was falling into place until my phone buzzed with a text from Mom. "Sweetie, we haven't seen you and Lucas in ages. Come over this weekend?" I nearly dropped my coffee. This was the same woman who'd barely acknowledged me for years. I thought of Lucas, who sometimes asked about his grandparents with a hopeful lilt. Maybe people could change. The following weekend, I brought Lucas to their house. The difference was jarring. "There's my favorite grandson," Dad called out as we walked in. Considering Lucas was their only grandson, the sentiment felt hollow, but Mom surprised me further. "Look what Grandma got you," she said, handing Lucas a shiny toy truck, something she'd never done before. "And I baked cookies. You like chocolate chip, right, Lucas?" He nodded eagerly, too young to sense the strangeness of their sudden warmth. I watched, stunned, as Mom knelt on the floor to play with him, a sight I'd never witnessed growing up. Later, as Lucas played, Mom turned to me. "Paula, honey, we'd love to have him over more often. You must need a break sometimes." It was surreal, like stepping into a parallel universe. I decided to lean into it, wary but hopeful. What was that saying about not looking a gift horse in the mouth? Over the next few months, my parents became surprisingly involved grandparents, requesting Lucas for weekend visits. I used the time to catch up with Jenny, who noticed the shift in my demeanor. "You seem happier," she said during a shopping trip, her eyes searching mine. "More relaxed." I nodded, admitting, "It's nice to see them finally make an effort, even if I suspect why." The why became clear soon enough. The requests started small. Mom needed help with a plumbing bill. Dad's watch needed repairs. With my new salary, these were easy to cover, and I agreed, remembering the dance lessons and summer camps they'd funded for Emma but denied me. It felt empowering to be the one they turned to now. Then I heard about Emma through the family grapevine. Her job at the trading company wasn't the success story Mom had painted. Passed over for multiple promotions, she was struggling. "It's just office politics," Mom defended at one of our new regular family dinners. "They don't recognize her talent." The requests for money grew bolder: a new refrigerator, home repairs, and then the big one. "Sweetheart," Dad said one Sunday while Lucas napped upstairs, "we've been thinking of getting a new car. The payments are a bit steep, but with your new position, they named a figure that would have staggered me a year ago. Now it was manageable. We'll pay you back," Mom assured me, but her eyes betrayed the lie. I agreed anyway, perhaps chasing validation or proving something to myself. Each month, I sent a check for their car payments. "Just be careful," Jenny warned over coffee. "Money has a way of complicating things." I nodded, but inside I thought, how complicated could it get? I had plenty, and if it meant Lucas had grandparents, wasn't it worth it? Everything changed on a Tuesday at work. Mid-presentation, a sharp pain stabbed my abdomen, doubling me over. "Call an ambulance," a colleague shouted. "She's white as a sheet." The world blurred. Paramedics, a stretcher, voices overlapping. "Classic appendicitis symptoms," one said. "We need to get her to Memorial." Amid the pain, one thought cut through. Lucas needed to be picked up from school in 2 hours. At the hospital, the doctor confirmed, "Your appendix needs to come out. We've got an OR ready, but you'll need to stay 2 days post-surgery. I grabbed my phone with shaking hands. I need to make a call. My son. I dialed Mom, my voice trembling but steady. Mom, I'm in the hospital. Appendicitis. They're operating soon. Can you pick up Lucas from school? I need someone to watch him for a couple of days. A pause stretched on. Oh, honey, that's not possible, she said. Your father and I are preparing for Emma's promotion party. She finally made junior executive. The pain in my stomach paled compared to the ache in my chest. Mom, please. Lucas needs to be picked up in less than 2 hours. Her voice turned icy. That's really not our problem. We're heading to a restaurant with 50 guests. We can't be babysitting. Babysitting? He's your grandson. Mom, I've been paying your car loan for a year. Every time you needed money. She cut me off with a laugh that chilled me. Oh, we won't need your handouts anymore. Emma's new position comes with an excellent salary. She'll help us instead. The line went dead. I lay there, phone pressed to my ear, tears mingling with sweat. All those months of financial support, those weekends of forced family harmony, gone the moment Emma's star rose again. Lucas and I were once more inconvenient. The nurse touched my arm. Miss Mitchell, we need to prep you for surgery. I nodded, dialing Jenny. She answered on the first ring. Jenny, I choked out. I'm in the hospital. Appendicitis. Can you pick up Lucas from school? I hate to ask. Text me the school details, she interrupted. What time? 2:30? Lucas is my nephew. We'll have a sleepover. He loves playing with Max. I heard her grab her keys. Thank you, I whispered, tears streaming. I called my parents first. Tell me later, she said firmly. Focus on getting better. Lucas is fine with me. I woke in recovery, groggy from anesthesia. My first thought of Lucas. A text from Jenny waited. Lucas is having a blast. We made pizza and built a blanket fort. Don't worry. Photos followed over the next 2 days. Lucas playing with Max, baking cookies, asleep amid stuffed animals. Each image eased the knot in my chest. When I was discharged, Jenny drove me to her house. Lucas ran to me, stopping short when he saw my bandages. Mommy's ouchie, he said, then grinned. And Jenny let me make breakfast every morning, and Max slept in my blanket fort. Jenny helped us settle back home, stocking our fridge and checking in daily during my recovery. She brought meals, entertained Lucas, and gave me space to heal. One evening, while reading Lucas a bedtime story, I scrolled through social media and saw them. Dozens of photos from Emma's promotion party, posted the day of my surgery. Mom and Dad, beaming beside Emma in her designer dress, toasting with champagne, an elaborate cake in the background. While I lay in a hospital bed, my son dismissed as a burden, they celebrated. That night, after Lucas slept, I sat at my computer. First, I canceled the automatic transfer for their car payment. Then, I blocked them on every platform. Staring at a framed photo of Lucas and me at the park, laughing as Max chased Bubbles, I felt a weight lift. I'd spent years chasing their love with money and effort, but no more. Lucas and I had Jenny, Tom, and Sarah, a family who chose us, not our bank account. We were enough. True family doesn't just share your blood. They show up when you're wheeled into emergency surgery, build blanket forts with your child, and stand by you through life's storms. 3 months after my hospital ordeal, life with Lucas had settled into a peaceful rhythm, like a gentle melody after years of discord. Jenny and her parents, Tom and Sarah, became the heartbeat of our weekends, filling them with backyard barbecues, park adventures, and cozy movie nights. Their presence was a balm, a reminder that love could be steadfast and unconditional. On a quiet Sunday afternoon, my phone shattered the calm. Mom's number flashed on the screen, and I hesitated, my finger hovering over the decline button. Curiosity, or perhaps a lingering hope, won out, and I answered. Paula, sweetheart, Mom began, her voice dripping with the sugary tone she used when she wanted something. How are you? I cut to the chase, my patience thin. What do you want, Mom? A theatrical sigh followed. Well, since you ask, your father and I are in a bit of a situation with the car payments. I felt a laugh rising, sharp and bitter, but held it back. You see, she continued, pausing for effect, we thought Emma would help with her new position, but when we asked, she refused. Can you believe it? After everything we've done for her. The irony was almost palpable. We were hoping, her voice softened, you could start helping with the payments again, just until we figure something out. The laugh I'd suppressed burst free, raw and unrestrained. Paula, this isn't funny, Mom snapped. We could lose the car. You know what's funny, Mom? I shot back, my voice steady despite the storm inside. 3 months ago, I was in agony, being wheeled into emergency surgery, and you called my son, your grandson, a burden. You couldn't be bothered to pick him up because you were too busy throwing Emma's promotion party. The same Emma who now won't give you a dime. Her stammered defense came quickly. We were just busy that day. You know how these events are. No, Mom, I said, my tone icy. I know exactly what it was. I was useful when I paid your bills. The moment you thought Emma could be your personal ATM, Lucas and I became inconvenient again. Her voice turned pleading. That's not fair. We've always what? I interrupted. Always favored Emma? Always treated me like I was second best? Always took my help for granted until something better came along? You called my financial support handouts, remember? Right before you hung up on me in the hospital. Silence stretched across the line. But the car, she started. I laughed again, this one lighter, almost liberating. Not my problem anymore.
Goodbye, Mom.
I hung up, blocked her number, and did the same with Dad's. Through the open window, I heard Lucas's giggles as he played with Jenny and Max in the backyard. Real laughter, real love, real family. The calls didn't stop there. They came in waves, Mom's number, then Dad's, leaving voicemails that swung from tearful pleas to angry demands. Paula, please, we're your parents, one said. This is so selfish of you. We'll lose the car because of you. Texts followed, each one a variation on their desperation. You're abandoning your family. How could you do this to us? Not one mentioned Lucas. Not one expressed remorse for dismissing us in my hour of need. It was all about their needs, their car, their feelings. After a week of this onslaught, I'd had enough. I blocked their numbers completely, set email filters to divert their messages to trash, and felt the air return to my lungs. For the first time, I could breathe freely. You okay? Jenny asked one Sunday as we watched Lucas and Max chase each other across her parents' backyard. Tom was tending the grill, the scent of sizzling burgers wafting over, while Sarah arranged the patio table for our weekly family dinner. I accepted the lemonade she offered, its cool tang grounding me. You know what? I really am, I said, meeting her gaze. I keep waiting for guilt or sadness, but all I feel is free. Jenny squeezed my hand. You gave them more chances than they deserved. Sometimes the healthiest thing is to walk away. Lucas ran over, his face alight with pride. Mommy, look what Grandpa Tom taught me. He demonstrated a new frisbee trick, his small hands clumsy but determined. Tom abandoned the grill to guide him, while Sarah called out encouragement. This was family, people who showed up not just for the laughter but for hospital runs and school pickups. I no longer know if my parents kept their car or if Emma finally stepped up. I don't know if they're still throwing lavish parties or lamenting their ungrateful eldest daughter. I don't check their social media, don't ask mutual acquaintances for updates, don't slow down when driving through their neighborhood. What I do know is that Lucas hasn't asked about them since that day. Children are intuitive. They sense who truly loves them. He has grandparents who never miss his school plays, an aunt who builds blanket forts with him, and a mom who's learned that love shouldn't come with conditions. Last week, Lucas brought home a family tree project from school. He'd drawn Tom and Sarah beside me, with Jenny and Max nearby. His father, Mike, had a small branch. Our relationship remains cordial, with regular video calls and holiday visits. But my parents and Emma were absent from the page. Is this okay, Mommy? He asked, holding up his work. Miss Johnson said family trees usually have more people, but I told her these are the only ones we need. I hung the drawing on the fridge, right next to a photo from his last birthday. Our chosen family gathered around a cake, genuine smiles lighting every face. "It's perfect, baby," I told him, my voice thick with emotion. Absolutely perfect. It took me 32 years to learn that the family you're born into isn't always the one you're meant to have. Sometimes, you must let go of those who should have loved you to make room for those who do. Watching Lucas grow, surrounded by the unwavering love of our chosen family, I know the wait was worth it. We've built a life rooted in real love, where no one feels second best, and that's more than enough. Please feel free to comment below if you liked this. Remember to like and subscribers for more.